Have you ever called out to your child, only to be met with silence? Or maybe you found yourself in the middle of a conversation, only to realize they're not really listening. If you felt invisible or unimportant in the eyes of the very people you've poured your heart and soul into, you're not alone. This pain, the frustration of being dismissed by your own children, is something so many parents face. But let me ask you this. What if I told you there's a better way to handle these moments? What if you could transform your frustration into understanding, your anger into strength, and most importantly, rebuild a deeper connection with your child? In today's video, we're diving into a 6-step Stoic-inspired strategy to help you regain your calm, guide your child with compassion, and foster the respect you deserve. This is not about quick fixes or empty advice. It's about rediscovering your inner strength and using timeless wisdom to bring peace back into your household. As parents, we often react emotionally, raising our voices, delivering long lectures, or imposing punishments. But does it really work? More often than not, it creates distance, leaving us feeling even more disconnected. Here's the truth: the way we respond in those moments shapes not just the immediate outcome, but the relationship we share with our children for years to come. That's why this video is different. Together, we'll explore how to keep your emotions in check, set boundaries with kindness, and create a space where both you and your child can thrive. This isn't just a guide, it's a journey. A journey to become the calm, confident parent you've always aspired to be. Imagine a life where your words carry weight, not because they're loud, but because they're filled with wisdom and love. Imagine teaching your child not just respect, but the tools they'll need to navigate life's challenges with grace and integrity. If you're ready to turn frustration into transformation, hit that subscribe button now and join us on this path of Stoic parenting. Don't forget to like, share, and comment below. We'd love to hear your experiences and the challenges you've faced. So, take a deep breath, grab a cup of coffee, and let's begin. As you listen, keep this question in mind. What kind of legacy do I want to leave for my child? It's understanding the reasons behind your child's behavior. Why do children sometimes ignore us, speak disrespectfully, or seem completely uninterested in what we have to say? It's easy to feel hurt, to think that their actions are a sign of rebellion, indifference, or even dislike. But here's the truth. It's rarely about you. Most of the time, a child's behavior, be it disrespect or disregard, stems from unprocessed emotions. They may be dealing with stress from school, feeling misunderstood by their peers, or struggling with their own insecurities. Their outward actions are often a reflection of inner turmoil, and as parents, it's easy to miss these signs when we're focused solely on the behavior itself. Think about this. When you've had a bad day, when stress at work or in life is piling up, how do you react? Maybe you snap at a loved one, isolate yourself, or struggle to find the words to explain what's wrong. Children go through the same, but they lack the emotional tools or maturity to express their feelings clearly. Instead, they act out. Take the example of my son, Jacob. One evening, I asked him to help set the table. He didn't even look up from his tablet, let alone respond. My first instinct was anger. Why is he ignoring me? How can he be so disrespectful after all I do for him? My voice rose, and I felt the frustration boiling over. But then I caught myself. I remembered something I'd read in Marcus Aurelius's Meditations. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. This moment wasn't about control. It was about understanding. I paused and asked myself, why is he acting this way? What's going on beneath the surface? So, I decided to approach him differently. I sat beside him, placed a gentle hand on his shoulder and said, "Hey, I noticed you seem a little off today. Is everything okay?" He hesitated at first, but eventually he opened up. It turned out he had had a tough day at school. He felt left out during lunch and had struggled with a test he thought he'd fail. That conversation changed everything. Instead of reacting to his behavior with frustration, I chose to respond with empathy. And in doing so, I not only diffused the tension, but also strengthened our connection. This is what Stoic parenting is about. Not suppressing emotions, but channeling them wisely. It's about seeing through the surface of disrespectful behavior to understand the emotions behind it. Children aren't always able to articulate what's wrong, but their actions speak volumes. So the next time your child disregards your words or responds with attitude, ask yourself, what might they be feeling? Are they overwhelmed, anxious, lonely? Taking a moment to consider their perspective doesn't mean excusing poor behavior. It means addressing its root cause. By understanding the why behind their actions, we as parents can guide them more effectively. We become not just disciplinarians, but mentors who teach them emotional intelligence and resilience. Now, think about your own child. When they're acting out, what could be the hidden message behind their behavior? How might you approach them differently next time? Now that we understand the root causes, let's dive into a practical framework to address this constructively. Stay tuned as we explore 6 Stoic-inspired steps that will transform the way you handle these moments. You don't want to miss this. Step 1. Keep your emotions in check. Imagine this. You've just spent an hour cooking dinner. You call your child to the table, once, twice, 3 times, and nothing. Instead of the sound of their footsteps, all you hear is the faint buzz of a phone or the hum of a TV. Frustration rises like a wave. It's tempting to let it out, to yell, to storm into the room, to demand their attention. But before you act, consider this. Will raising your voice help? Will anger create the respect and cooperation you're hoping for? The Stoics would say no. They remind us that we don't control others, we only control ourselves. Marcus Aurelius, one of Stoicism's greatest philosophers, once wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." In moments like these, your calmness is your greatest weapon. It's the foundation for not just resolving the situation at hand, but for teaching your child a powerful lesson about emotional resilience and respect. Let me share a moment from my own parenting journey. One evening, I called out to my teenage daughter, Lily, to come to dinner. She didn't respond. I called again, louder this time, still nothing. My frustration boiled over, and I found myself storming into her room, ready to unleash a string of complaints about respect and manners. But then, I paused. I remembered the Stoic principle: control your emotions, not the events. Instead of letting my anger lead the way, I took a deep breath. I walked into her room calmly and gently tapped her shoulder. When she looked up, I said, "Hey, dinner's ready. Let's eat together." At first, her reaction was dismissive. But because I didn't escalate the situation, she eventually put down her phone and joined us at the table. Later that evening, she apologized. "Sorry, Mum," she said. "I didn't mean to ignore you, I just got caught up in a text with my friend." That moment taught me a vital lesson. Staying calm doesn't just avoid unnecessary conflict, it invites understanding. The Stoic principle: mastering your emotions. Stoicism teaches that emotions themselves aren't the enemy. It's how we let them control us that creates problems. When frustration arises, the key is not to suppress it, but to channel it wisely. Think of your emotions as a storm. If you allow the wind and rain to dictate your actions, you risk being swept away. But if you stand firm, like a lighthouse, you remain a steady guide for those around you. Practical steps to keep your emotions in check. When faced with situations where your patience is tested, here's a step-by-step guide to maintaining your composure. 1. Pause and breathe. The moment you feel anger rising, stop. Take a deep breath, in through your nose for 4 counts, hold for 4 counts, and exhale for 4 counts. This simple act engages your body's relaxation response, calming your nervous system and giving you a moment to think. 2. Reframe the situation. Ask yourself, is this worth losing my temper over? What's the bigger picture here? Most often the answer is no. By reframing, you shift your focus from frustration to perspective. 3. Choose your words wisely. Instead of shouting, approach your child with calm and clarity. For example, instead of saying, "Why can't you ever listen to me?" try, "Dinner is ready, and I'd like us to eat together now." This shifts the tone from accusation to invitation. 4. Set the example. Children mirror what they see. When you manage your emotions effectively, you're teaching them how to handle their own frustrations and challenges. Remaining calm in moments of tension does more than prevent conflict. It builds trust and respect. When your child sees that you don't lose control, they're more likely to listen and engage. They learn that strength doesn't come from shouting louder. It comes from staying steady in the face of challenges. Additionally, your calmness creates a space for dialogue. It opens the door for your child to explain their behavior without fear of judgment, fostering better understanding and connection. Now, let me ask you, how do you usually react when your child ignores or disrespects you? Do you let frustration take the wheel, or do you pause and take control of your emotions? The next time you find yourself in a tense situation, try this. Take a deep breath, choose your words with care, and approach your child with the calmness you want them to learn. You might be surprised at how much it changes the dynamic. In the following steps, we'll explore how to pair this emotional mastery with clear boundaries and empathetic communication, creating a parenting approach that's both firm and compassionate. Stay tuned. It only gets better from here. Step 2. Show understanding without giving in. When your child acts out, whether through disrespectful words or ignoring your requests, it's natural to feel frustrated or even hurt. The instinct might be to push back immediately, asserting authority or enforcing consequences. But there's another approach, one rooted in empathy and balance, that can be far more effective. Understanding your child's behavior doesn't mean condoning it. Instead, it means looking beyond the surface to uncover the emotions driving their actions. Stoic philosophy reminds us that not every reaction deserves a reaction. Instead of jumping to conclusions, pause and reflect. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Everything we hear is an opinion, not a fact. Everything we see is a perspective, not the truth." This wisdom urges us to step back and seek clarity before responding. Children, like adults, experience complex emotions. Their frustration, defiance, or withdrawal often stems from something deeper: stress from school, social struggles, or feelings of inadequacy. When we take the time to understand what's beneath the surface, we send a powerful message. I care about what you're feeling, not just how you're acting. Imagine this scenario: your teenage son snaps at you when you remind him to clean his room. "Why do you always nag me? Leave me alone." The words sting, but instead of reacting with anger, you pause and ask yourself, what's causing this outburst? When you approach your child calmly and say, "You seem upset. Is something going on?" You're opening the door to meaningful communication. Maybe he's overwhelmed with homework or feeling left out by his friends. By showing empathy, you're addressing the root cause, not just the symptom. Let me share a moment from my life when this approach transformed a tough situation. One evening, my daughter Mia came home from school in a sour mood. She slammed the door, ignored my greeting, and snapped when I asked about her day. My initial reaction was irritation. I wanted to lecture her about respect and gratitude. But then I remembered the Stoic principle: seek to understand before you judge. Instead of reacting, I took a deep breath and knocked on her door. "Mia," I said, "I can see you're upset. Do you want to talk about it?" At first, she brushed me off, but when I stayed patient and didn't push, she eventually opened up. It turned out she had an argument with her best friend and felt isolated. This conversation taught me something profound. When we respond with empathy instead of anger, we create space for connection. It doesn't mean letting disrespect slide. It means addressing the emotions fueling it. How to show understanding without losing authority. Understanding your child's perspective is not the same as giving in to bad behavior. It's about acknowledging their feelings while maintaining your role as a guide and boundary setter. Here's how you can strike this balance. 1. Acknowledge their feelings. Start by validating their emotions. For instance, say, "I can see you're frustrated," or "It seems like something's bothering you." This shows them you're paying attention and that their emotions matter. 2. Separate emotions from actions. Make it clear that while their feelings are valid, their actions might not be. For example, "I understand you're upset, but yelling isn't the way to handle it." This reinforces boundaries without dismissing their emotions. 3. Stay calm and neutral. No matter how disrespectful their words might seem, avoid mirroring their tone. Speak calmly and steadily. Your composure will set the tone for the interaction. 4. Ask open-ended questions. Instead of saying, "Why are you acting this way?" try, "What's on your mind?" Or, "Is there something bothering you?" These questions encourage dialogue rather than defensiveness. 5. Offer support, not solutions. Sometimes children don't need us to fix their problems, they just need us to listen. Let them share their frustrations and resist the urge to jump in with advice unless they ask for it. Showing understanding without giving in builds trust and respect. It demonstrates that you're willing to listen, but it also makes it clear that you won't tolerate harmful behavior. Over time, your child learns that their feelings are important, but so are the boundaries that keep your relationship healthy. Stoicism teaches us to focus on what we can control: our reactions, our words, and our demeanor. When you respond with empathy, you're modeling the kind of emotional intelligence and self-restraint you want your child to develop. Think back to a time when your child acted out. How did you respond? Did your reaction escalate the conflict, or did it lead to understanding? Now consider this. What could you do differently next time to show empathy while maintaining your authority? As parents, we're not just raising children, we're shaping future adults. By combining understanding with firmness, we're teaching them how to handle conflict, express their emotions, and navigate relationships with grace. In the next step, we'll explore how to set clear boundaries that protect your peace and teach your child the importance of mutual respect. Stay tuned. It's time to lay the groundwork for a stronger, healthier relationship. Step 3. Set clear boundaries. Boundaries are the foundation of any healthy relationship, and parenting is no exception. When your child disrespects you or ignores your requests, it's not just frustrating, it can feel like a blow to the respect and connection you've worked so hard to build. But here's the truth: respect isn't automatic. It's something we teach through clear, consistent boundaries. Setting boundaries doesn't mean being harsh or authoritarian. It's about creating a framework that ensures mutual respect, while allowing your child the freedom to grow and learn. As the Stoics remind us, we cannot control others, only how we respond. Clear boundaries are a way to define your response while maintaining your peace. Children thrive on structure. Even though they might push against limits, boundaries give them a sense of security and clarity. When they know what's expected of them and what the consequences are for crossing the line, they're more likely to cooperate. Think of boundaries as the walls of a lighthouse. They don't restrict the light, they guide it, giving it direction and purpose. Similarly, boundaries aren't about stifling your child. They're about guiding them toward respectful and responsible behavior. Let me share a moment when I learned the importance of clear boundaries. My son, Ethan, had developed a habit of interrupting me during phone calls. Whether I was speaking to a colleague or a friend, he'd burst in with demands for attention. At first, I let it slide, thinking, "He's just a kid. He doesn't understand." But over time, it started to wear on me. One day I decided enough was enough. Inspired by Stoic principles, I sat Ethan down and calmly explained, "When I'm on a call, it's important for me to focus. Interrupting is disrespectful, and it makes it hard for me to do my work. From now on, if you need something while I'm on the phone, wait until I'm finished, or leave me a note." At first, he tested the boundary, but each time, I gently reminded him of the rule and the reason behind it. Over time, he began to respect the boundary, and our relationship improved because of it. I learned that setting boundaries isn't about control, it's about mutual understanding and respect. Practical steps to set clear boundaries. Establishing boundaries doesn't have to be complicated. It requires clarity, consistency, and a calm approach. Here's how you can set and enforce effective boundaries with your child. 1. Define the boundary clearly. Be specific about what's acceptable and what isn't. For example, instead of saying, "Don't be rude," try, "When we're talking, please don't interrupt or raise your voice." Clear expectations leave no room for confusion. 2. Explain the reasoning. Help your child understand why the boundary exists. Use simple, relatable explanations. For example, I need quiet when I'm working so I can focus and finish faster. Then we can spend more time together. This helps them see the boundary as beneficial, not punitive. 3. Be consistent. Boundaries lose their effectiveness if they're enforced inconsistently. If you let something slide one day but react the next, your child will learn to test the limits. Stay firm and consistent even when it's inconvenient. 4. Follow through with consequences. Make sure there are logical consequences when boundaries are crossed. For instance, if your child ignores the rule about screen time, the consequence could be losing access to their device for a set period. Ensure the consequence is fair, immediate, and directly tied to the behavior. 5. Model respect. Children learn by example. Show them what respectful behavior looks like by treating them with the same respect you expect. For example, if you ask them not to interrupt, make sure you give them your full attention when they're speaking. When done correctly, boundaries don't create distance, they build trust. They show your child that you respect yourself enough to demand respect in return, and they teach your child the value of responsibility and accountability. Boundaries also create opportunities for growth. They challenge your child to think about their actions and their impact on others. Over time, they'll learn to internalize these lessons, making them better equipped to navigate relationships outside the home. Enforcing boundaries can feel exhausting at times, especially when your child tests them repeatedly. But remember, every time you hold the line, you're reinforcing an important lesson. Respect is non-negotiable. If you feel frustrated, remind yourself of this Stoic truth. No great thing is created suddenly. Teaching respect and responsibility takes time, patience, and perseverance. Ask yourself, what boundaries have I set for my child? Are they clear and consistent, or do they sometimes feel like shifting lines? Reflecting on this can help you identify areas where you might need to tighten or clarify expectations. In the next step, we'll explore how to model the behavior you want to see in your child, reinforcing the lessons taught through your boundaries. Together, these tools will help you create a home built on respect, trust, and understanding. Stay tuned. It's time to take your parenting to the next level. Step 4. Model the behavior you want to see. As parents, we often tell our children how we want them to behave. We lecture, explain, and sometimes even plead. But let's be honest, how often does that actually work? The truth is, children learn far more from what we do than from what we say. This is where modeling comes in. Stoic philosophy teaches us that the best way to inspire others is through our actions, not our words. Marcus Aurelius, one of Stoicism's greatest thinkers, wrote, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one." This wisdom is especially relevant to parenting. If we want our children to grow into respectful, calm, and responsible individuals, we must first embody those qualities ourselves. Children are incredibly observant. Even when we think they're not paying attention, they're watching how we handle stress, how we treat others, and how we respond to challenges. If we want them to be kind, patient, and resilient, we need to show them what those qualities look like in action. For example, if you ask your child to be respectful but frequently yell or criticize, the message you're sending is contradictory. Actions speak louder than words, and inconsistency can lead to confusion or resentment. Modeling is not about being perfect. It's about striving to align your behavior with the values you want to instill in your child. Let me share a story that brought this lesson to life for me. One morning, while rushing to get my son, Noah, ready for school, I spilled coffee all over the kitchen counter. Frustrated and already running late, I let out an exasperated sigh. Noah, who was watching, immediately reacted, "It's okay, Mum." Accidents happen. His calm response caught me off guard, and I realized he was mirroring something I'd told him countless times when he'd made mistakes. But then I thought, am I practicing what I preach? If I want him to handle setbacks with patience and grace, I need to do the same. I took a deep breath, smiled, and said, "You're right, Noah. Thank you for reminding me." That moment stuck with me. It reinforced the idea that our children are reflections of us, both the good and the bad. Here's how you can intentionally model the behavior you want to see in your child. 1. Stay calm, in stressful situations. Children watch closely when things go wrong. Whether you're stuck in traffic or dealing with a work problem, demonstrate calmness and problem solving. Instead of reacting with frustration, verbalize your thought process. This is frustrating, but I'll figure it out. 2. Practice respectful communication. If you want your child to speak respectfully, show them what that looks like. Use a calm and respectful tone, even when correcting their behavior. For example, instead of saying, "Why are you always so messy?" try, "I need you to clean up your toys because a tidy space helps everyone feel better." 3. Admit mistakes and apologize. One of the most powerful ways to model good behavior is by showing humility. If you lose your temper or make a poor decision, acknowledge it. Say, "I'm sorry I raised my voice earlier. I was feeling frustrated, but that's not how I should have handled it." This teaches your child accountability and the importance of owning their actions. 4. Prioritize kindness and empathy. Let your child see you being kind to others, whether it's helping a neighbor, saying thank you to a cashier, or comforting a friend in need. When you show empathy, you teach your child to value and care for others. 5. Demonstrate self-discipline. If you want your child to manage their emotions and responsibilities, lead by example. Stick to your commitments, manage your time well, and practice self-control. For instance, if you ask them to limit screen time, ensure you're not glued to your own devices. When you model the behavior you want to see, you create a blueprint for your child to follow. Over time, they internalize these lessons, not because they were told to, but because they saw them in action. Modeling also builds credibility. When your actions align with your expectations, your child is more likely to respect and trust you. They see you as a guide who practices what you preach, making them more receptive to your guidance. No one is perfect, and there will be moments when you fall short of the example you want to set. That's okay. What matters is how you handle those moments. Acknowledge your mistakes and use them as teaching opportunities. For example, if you catch yourself yelling, pause and say, "I shouldn't have raised my voice. Let's try this conversation again calmly." This not only repairs the moment, but also shows your child that it's okay to make mistakes as long as you strive to improve. Take a moment to think, what qualities do I want my child to develop? Patience, resilience, respect? Now ask yourself, am I demonstrating those qualities in my own life? In the next step, we'll explore how to foster open communication with your child, creating a safe space for them to share their thoughts and feelings. Together, these tools will help you build a relationship rooted in mutual respect and understanding. Stay tuned. The journey continues. Step 5. Cultivate open communication. One of the most powerful ways to strengthen your relationship with your child is through open communication. A home where children feel safe to share their thoughts, fears, and dreams is one where trust and respect flourish. But fostering this kind of dialogue requires effort. It's about more than just asking questions. It's about creating an environment where your child feels heard and understood. The Stoics valued clarity and reason in communication. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "Give yourself the gift of clarity, speak and listen with a calm and open mind." This wisdom reminds us that effective communication isn't just about speaking, it's also about listening with intention and empathy. When children feel they can express themselves without fear of judgment, they're more likely to confide in you during difficult times. Open communication teaches them that their voice matters and builds a foundation of mutual respect. But when communication breaks down, when children feel dismissed or misunderstood, they may withdraw, act out, or seek validation elsewhere. By cultivating open communication, you ensure that your home remains a safe space where they can turn for guidance and support. Let me share a moment from my own parenting journey. My daughter Sophie came home from school one day looking visibly upset. When I asked how her day was, she shrugged and said, "Fine," before retreating to her room. My initial instinct was to leave her alone, assuming she needed space. But then I thought about the Stoic principle of curiosity, of seeking to understand rather than assuming. So, after giving her some time, I knocked on her door and said, "I noticed you seemed upset earlier. Do you want to talk about it?" At first, she resisted, but I sat beside her quietly and said, "Whatever it is, I'm here to listen." That simple statement opened the floodgates. She shared how she felt left out by her friends during lunch and was worried about an upcoming test. That evening, I realized the importance of creating space for conversation. Sophie didn't need advice or solutions, she just needed someone to listen. By showing her that her feelings were valid, I reinforced the bond between us. Building a home environment that encourages open dialogue doesn't happen overnight. It requires consistency, patience, and intentionality. Here's how you can cultivate open communication with your child. 1. Create a judgment-free zone. Let your child know they can share their thoughts and feelings without fear of criticism or punishment. For example, if they admit to struggling in school, resist the urge to lecture. Instead, say, "Thank you for telling me. How can I help?" 2. Ask open-ended questions. Instead of asking yes or no questions like, "Did you have a good day?" Try, "What was the best part of your day?" Or, "Is there anything on your mind?" Open-ended questions encourage your child to elaborate and share more deeply. 3. Practice active listening. When your child speaks, give them your full attention. Put down your phone, make eye contact and nod, or offer affirmations like, "I understand," or "That sounds tough." Avoid interrupting or jumping in with advice unless they ask for it. 4. Validate their feelings. Even if you don't agree with your child's perspective, acknowledge their emotions. For example, if they're upset about losing a game, instead of saying, "It's just a game," try, "I can see why you're disappointed. Losing is hard." Validation shows them that their feelings are important. 5. Be honest and vulnerable. Share your own experiences and feelings with your child. Let them see that it's okay to feel uncertain or make mistakes. For example, if you're stressed about work, you might say, "I had a tough day too, but I'm glad we can talk about it." This honesty fosters mutual understanding. When you prioritize open communication, you're not just solving problems in the moment, you're building lifelong skills for your child. They learn how to express themselves, handle conflict, and navigate relationships with empathy and respect. Open communication also strengthens your relationship. It shows your child that you're not just an authority figure, you're a trusted ally who values their thoughts and feelings. Over time, this bond will become a source of resilience for both of you. There will be times when your child doesn't want to talk, no matter how open and approachable you are. During these moments, patience is key. Give them space, but let them know you're available when they're ready. If you struggle with communication, consider incorporating family routines that encourage dialogue. For example, set aside time for weekly family check-ins or casual conversations during meals. These moments create opportunities for connection without pressure. Ask yourself, when was the last time I truly listened to my child? Did I create space for them to share openly, or was I too focused on responding or fixing the issue? In the next step, we'll explore how patience and consistency can solidify the lessons learned through communication, boundaries, and modeling. Together, these tools will help you create a home where respect and understanding thrive. Stay tuned, the journey continues. The journey. Step 6. Practice patience and consistency. Parenting is a long journey, filled with moments of joy, frustration, and everything in between. While strategies like setting boundaries and fostering communication are crucial, they are only effective if paired with patience and consistency. Stoic philosophy teaches us that true change takes time and effort. As Marcus Aurelius wisely said, "No great thing is created suddenly, any more than a bunch of grapes or a fig. If you tell me that you desire a fig, I answer that there must be time. Let it first blossom, then bear fruit, then ripen." This principle holds especially true for parenting. Transforming your relationship with your child, or helping them develop better habits, requires steady dedication. By being patient and consistent, you create an environment where growth and understanding can flourish. Children thrive on predictability and stability. When they know what to expect from you, they feel secure and are more likely to trust your guidance. Inconsistent rules or responses can confuse them, leading to frustration and misbehavior. Patience, on the other hand, ensures that you approach each moment with grace. even when progress feels slow. Imagine planting a garden. You water the seeds, provide sunlight, and nurture the soil. You don't expect the flowers to bloom overnight. You trust the process. Parenting works the same way. With time, care, and consistent effort, the seeds of respect and understanding you plant today will grow into a stronger, healthier relationship. Let me share a story from my own experience. My son, Ethan, struggled with bedtime routines. Every night was a battle. He resisted turning off the TV, brushed his teeth grudgingly, and often refused to settle down. At first, I tried different strategies, being strict one night, lenient the next, and occasionally resorting to bribes, but nothing seemed to work. Then I realized the problem wasn't Ethan. It was my inconsistency. I wasn't giving him the structure he needed. I decided to implement a consistent bedtime routine, 30 minutes of TV, brushing teeth and reading a story together before lights out. It wasn't easy at first. Ethan pushed back, testing the limits every night. But instead of losing my patience, I reminded myself to stay calm and stick to the routine. Over time, the resistance lessened. Within weeks, bedtime became smoother. The routine gave Ethan a sense of predictability, and my consistent responses built his trust. That experience taught me that patience isn't about waiting, it's about how you act while you're waiting. Patience and consistency don't come naturally, they're skills you develop with intention. Here are some practical ways to practice these qualities in your parenting. 1. Set realistic expectations. Change doesn't happen overnight. Understand that your child will make mistakes and test boundaries. It's part of their learning process. Celebrate small wins and view setbacks as opportunities to reinforce lessons. 2. Respond calmly to testing. Children often push limits to see how far they can go. Instead of reacting with frustration, maintain a calm and steady tone. For example, if your child ignores a rule, remind them of the boundary and its consequence without anger or negotiation. 3. Be consistent with consequences. Follow through on consequences every time. If you say, "No screen time if chores aren't done," ensure that you enforce it. Consistency teaches children accountability and helps them understand that rules aren't arbitrary. 4. Model patience in your actions. Show your child what patience looks like. If they're struggling with homework, sit beside them and offer support instead of rushing them. If they're slow to get ready in the morning, guide them calmly rather than raising your voice. 5. Take care of yourself. Patience requires emotional energy. Prioritize self-care to avoid burnout. Whether it's taking a walk, practicing mindfulness, or simply enjoying a quiet cup of tea, make time to recharge so you can approach parenting with a calm mindset. When you practice patience and consistency, you're not just shaping your child's behavior, you're teaching them valuable life skills. They learn resilience, responsibility, and the importance of sticking to commitments. Moreover, your consistent actions build a foundation of trust. Your child comes to see you as a steady presence, someone who keeps their word and provides guidance without judgment. Over time, this trust deepens your relationship and makes discipline less about enforcement and more about mutual understanding. There will be days when your patience wears thin, when you feel like your efforts aren't making a difference. During these moments, remind yourself of the bigger picture. Change takes time, and every small step counts. If you find yourself losing patience, pause and reflect. Ask yourself, am I expecting too much too soon? How can I approach this moment with calmness and clarity? Take a moment to think about your parenting journey so far. Are there areas where you've struggled with consistency? Have you been patient with your child's growth, or have you expected immediate results? Patience and consistency are the glue that holds all the other steps together. They reinforce boundaries, encourage open communication, and model the behavior you want to see. In the end, they create a parenting approach rooted in love, trust, and resilience. With this foundation in place, you're well equipped to handle the ups and downs of parenting while fostering a strong, lasting bond with your child. Remember, the journey is as important as the destination. Stay steady, the results will be worth it. Parenting isn't easy. It's a journey filled with joys, frustrations, and countless moments of self-doubt. But here's the truth. You're not alone. Every parent faces challenges, and every challenge is an opportunity to grow. not just for your child, but for you as well. Through the timeless wisdom of Stoicism, you can navigate these moments with grace and strength. You don't need to be perfect. You only need to strive to be present, calm, and intentional. Your calmness today, in the face of frustration, is shaping the adults your children will become tomorrow. Every time you respond with patience instead of anger, listen with empathy instead of judgment, and model the behavior you hope to see, you're teaching your children how to live with integrity, resilience, and compassion. These are the lessons they will carry into the world long after childhood has passed. So, I leave you with this question. What kind of legacy do you want to leave for your children? Is it one of anger and conflict, or one of love, understanding, and mutual respect? The choice is yours, and every moment is a chance to make it. Thank you for joining me on this journey. If this message resonated with you, please subscribe, like, and share your thoughts in the comments below. Together, we can continue to grow and inspire a generation raised with wisdom and love.